What if I told you that there was one thing that you could focus on that would provide everything that you ever desire, but conversely, if you focused on every single thing that you desired, it wouldn't bring the one thing that really matters? As I sat down today in Proverbs 4, it made it clear in no uncertain terms what that one thing is. Now the ball is on our court. That ball that's in our court is choosing the one thing that will bring us everything, or choosing everything that will bring us nothing. So why don't we get this party started?
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise. The takeover is televised. Over and over and over again. Make no mistake, we continue to win. Defeat never known, cause I will not lose. They wanna mimic my moves, but can't walk in my shoes.
You know how when your heart is on fire? I was over at the house just a little bit ago, and my son was cooking, and we got done. We got eating, and I was sitting on the couch, and I was like, man, I could watch some TV, or I could walk over to the studio, and we could actually get some work in. And I just went up, and I told my son, hey, I'm going to go, want to go and hang in the studio for a little bit, and then I'll be back. And he was just like, it was almost like he looked at me like he was proud of me. You know what I'm saying? When something burns in your heart, it's not work anymore. For me, this has never been work. This is something that has been probably one of the greatest projects that I've ever done. And we just had our year-end wrap-up, and they give us the kind of stats, which is awesome. I want to thank you guys because there's like 70 people that were the #1 podcast for them. There are, let me give you some other stats. We got a 5-star rating too, which I thought was really, really cool. There was some things that made my heart sing, that the listeners also listened to the Joe Rogan Experience, Modern Wisdom, and the Armchair Expert with Dax Shepard, all podcasts that I absolutely love, and you guys are listening to those, and I just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in, for allowing me to do this and share the time with you. If you're tuning in for the first time, this is an episode of Inchstones. We go through the corresponding proverb, corresponding day. And also, this is one of the shows that we have on the podcast. We also have an interview show where we take some of the most iconic people in the world. They give advice to my kids by name. And then also we have a show called You Have to Meet My Friends, where I go live and I call my friends randomly, and it's hilarious, and we get to have a good time. So in today's, in this proverb, in Proverbs 4, it was interesting for me today because what God was, when I spent time with him today, he said, what if there was one thing? What if there was one thing that if you focused on it, it would give you everything? But if you focus on everything, then you'll gain nothing. And I was like, man, that doesn't sound right? It doesn't sound right. Maybe I can, my wife would tell me this at times. She was like, I feel like I'm I do a lot of stuff, but I'm not great at any one thing. And I was like, you're crazy. Everything that you touch is gold. Like my wife, Brooklyn, I'm so proud of you and what you do. And literally, if you're around Brooklyn, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But she was kind of telling me about this, and what my pops had taught me from a very early age is the only difference, really truly the only difference between great and the best is just focus. Because when you focus, you cut off everything else, and because you can only focus on one thing at a time. And when you focus in on that one thing, right, it kind of eliminates the options of anything that's contrary to it. And imagine if we just had one singular focus. And what God was saying today is if you will simply focus on wisdom, and there's only one place to get it. If you'll simply focus on that wisdom will bring you every single thing else. And so my question was like, how do I get wisdom? He said, from fear of God. Fearing me, that's what he was saying. Like, respect me. How do I respect you? See your actions and see your words, and they're in line, and I start to respect you. Which means all he's saying is just spend time with me. If you spend time with God, he'll give you wisdom, and that wisdom will bring every single thing that you desire, because that desire, the author of it was God, and the finisher of it will be him also. Now, this is different from wants. Wants are circumstantial. Desires are placed inside of you, that burning thing. Like when I was sitting at home and just about to watch some TV, and the burning desire inside me was get to the studio. Get to the studio as soon as you possibly can, because you got some stuff that's burning in your heart, and to be able to share it, right? So let's dive into Proverbs 4, because it talks about the one thing, if you focus on it, that will bring you everything. But I caution you, because in life, right, we could get distracted so quickly. And I could do it. I'm a human being. I start scrolling. I look up 15, 20 minutes later, I'm still in it, right? Done nothing at all. So I would suggest if you didn't get a chance to listen to the last episode, go back and listen to that one, listen to the one before that. And honestly, like, grab the playlist. It's unbelievable. Take you through like 15, 20 minutes, whatever it is, on your walk. And I appreciate you guys being here. Comment, send a comment in. I love you guys. Here we go. In Proverbs 4, 1-9, the foundation of anything will determine how long it lasts. This one, I had to sit for a second this morning while I was in my quiet time, as those words wrote down on the paper. The foundation of anything will determine how long it lasts. So what type of foundation are you building on? And for me, like, whether it be my family, my business, my relationship, anything like that, I want to build them on the firmest foundation possible. And what God was saying is, I'm the rock. Like, I'm the one that if you build on me, if you build on wisdom, which comes from me, you build on that, I tell you, it'll last forever. And so as we go into verse 10 through 13 and verse 23, I circled this 23 because this 23, actually, I'm going to grab it here. I'm going to grab this one because it was really important to me, this verse 23. It was very, very strong, but wisdom will guide you, provide opportunities, and protect you. Seek it, store it up, and guard it. Let me say it again. Wisdom will guide you, provide opportunities, and it'll protect you. So seek it, store it up, and guard it. How do we seek wisdom? We just spend time with God. That's it. It's free. It's absolutely free. It doesn't come with a course. It doesn't come with any of those things. It comes with you just opening your word, spending a little bit of time. Sometimes it's sitting outside. Sometimes it's laying by a tree, whatever floats your boat. Any of those things where you just spend time and commit to him. That's it. So let me grab my glasses here because I want to read verse 23 in Proverbs 4. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything flows from it. Fill your heart with wisdom. It will guide you. It'll provide you opportunities. It'll protect you. So seek it, store it up, and guard it. Where do you, where to seek it? You just spend time with him. Where do we store it up? Inside of our heart. And then we guard our heart with everything. And this is what my mom said to me all the time. She said, watch your mouth and guard your heart. Watch your mouth, son. Guard your heart. She said, watch your mouth, because the words that are coming out your mouth actually were an overflow of your heart. So guard your heart, because you got to be careful of the things that you allow in, but also once you allow that wisdom in, guard it at all costs, because when you fill it up, then it'll actually come out your mouth. And when you have wisdom coming out your mouth, what'll start to happen is as you start to speak it, then you'll start to act on it. And your heart, your mind, and your mouth, all of those things start to be in line. When you have it in your heart, you think about it, you speak it, and then you do it. It's unbelievable the way that people start to feel around you, and they call it this vibe. That's what they call it, right? Oh, the vibe is different. Well, yeah, the vibe is different because everything is aligned. Here we go. In verse 14 through 17. Darkness does not come in a moment. It is slow like a dimmer switch. And then set foot, walk, and travel. This was a thing that we taught within our company as far as culture-wise, because a lot of times people would be like, oh man, I'll be able to see the darkness from a mile away. No, you won't. It's like a dimmer switch. Non-performance, inefficiency doesn't come like that. It just comes little bit by little bit by little bit. That's why Kaizen, the word Kaizen, a series of small improvements or never walking past poor quality, is so important. Because inefficiency doesn't come in an instant. It comes little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit. Relationships don't deteriorate in an instant. Some of them do. But it's just a little bit. It's a little bit of compromise. It's a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of this. And before you know it, it's like the frog that you put in the water. And then you start boiling the water, the frog stays in there and dies. But if you take a frog and you throw it in boiling water, it's going to jump right out. But if it heats up little bit by little bit by little bit by little bit, and I tell you, before you know it, with a dimmer switch, before you know it, you're in the dark. So what God says in verse 14 through 17, be conscious to even step foot there. Because if you step foot, you'll start to walk. And when you walk, you'll start to travel down the path. So if you don't want to travel down the path, simply don't walk. But if you don't want to walk, don't set foot there. So be conscious as the dimmer switch is going. A series of small improvements, little tiny Inchstones. Kaizen, never walk past poor quality. When you look at that in your culture, in your business, in your relationships, I tell you, it's unbelievable what can happen. In verse 20 through 22, a sober mind can detect trouble from a mile away. A sober mind, a sober heart, a sober spirit can detect challenges from a mile away. And what is a sober mind? It just hasn't been overtaken by a substance. And I'm not just talking about alcohol or drugs. I'm saying a sober mind, like when you add wisdom and you filter every single thing through wisdom. You have an idea, filter it through wisdom. You have a concept, filter it through wisdom. You want to do a new thing, filter it through wisdom. One of my biggest counselors is my big brother, Rob. I absolutely love you, Rob. I call you when I need you. And a lot of times, you know, you're just so gracious with me all the time. I did that with my pops. But I tell you, with my pops would always direct my eyes. He would say, I'll talk to you about this, but I would suggest you look into the Lord. Filter it with him. What does his word say about it? What does wisdom say about it? Wisdom was written 3,000 years ago, and it's still applicable today. In verse 20 through 27, guard your heart, watch your mouth, focus your eyes, take thought of your feet, and be steadfast. I got to sit for a second in that one. Guard your heart, watch your mouth, focus your eyes, take thought of your feet, and be steadfast. All these notes too. I know we go kind of fast, rapid fire, things like that. We're actually releasing our Substack, which will be in the next week or so. That's going to be out, and we're going to be releasing the notes weekly. And so you're going to get the handwritten notes. You're not getting the typed out version. You're getting the handwritten notes that you're seeing here, and we're going to have that on Substack. It's going to be amazing for you, which I think that you'll love. My pops would always say, boy, there's only one difference between being great and being the best, and that's the ability to focus. Focus is when your vision becomes singular. When your focus locks into wisdom, we will begin to build on an unshakable foundation. Proverbs 4 takes us to that place where what's the one thing that we can focus on that will bring us every single thing that we could ever desire? Wisdom. But what the world will teach you is focus on every single other thing. But what they don't tell you is you'll end up with nothing. I want to thank you guys for tuning in for another episode of Inchstones. Check out the other episodes too of the whether it be Inchstones, You Have to Meet My Friends, or the interview side. I have some of the most iconic people in the world. I just had Cassie Pike on recently. She is unreal. Talked about the job market, and then she gives advice to my kids by name. It is unreal. So I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe, do all the things that you know you need to do. But I want to thank you again for allowing me to be here and be with you and spend this time with every single one of you. I want you to have an incredible day. Be encouraged. You're exactly where God needs you at the exact right time, because if he needed you someplace else, he'd have you there. You're the greatest, so act accordingly. Have a wonderful day. My name is Kelly Cardenas, and I'm officially off the hot seat. Peace, love, and soul.
Nothing more on my mind. I got to shine, so every day I grind. Work in the morning, work in the evening. We's achieving, cause we believing. It's for certain, we put the work in. We ain't stopped just because it's hurting. Right before your eyes, so it's coming to no surprise to take over.